Hey there everyone, I'm Luke and today we're diving down the Tube of Toons for our brand new show, Cartoon Catch Up, looking at The Mandalorian. Just finished watching The Mandalorian Season 2 and are looking for more from these characters? Well, you're in luck. Many of the new elements introduced this season have their origins in the cartoons, and have many more adventures for you to enjoy. The Darksaber made its live-action debut at the close of the first season in Chapter 8, Redemption, and was wielded throughout this season by Giancarlo Esposito's Moff Gideon. The Darksaber made its live-action debut at the close of the first season in Chapter 8, Redemption, and was wielded throughout the rest of this season by Giancarlo Esposito's Moff Gideon. But what is it? The Jedis and the Mandalorians were ancient enemies, but when the battles ended, Tar Vizsla became the first Mandalorian to become a Jedi and the man who created the Darksaber. When the Old Republic fell, House Vizsla reclaimed the blade as their own from the Jedi Temple, which they used to rule Mandalore for generations. Eventually, Mandalore, reduced to a desert, would turn its back on violence, giving rise to the new Mandalorian government. Following a civil war for control, House Vizsla and the other warrior clans were exiled to the moon Concordia. This led to Pre-Vizsla's Death Watch forming an alliance with the resurrected Darth Maul during the Clone Wars to take back control of Mandalore. After a double cross, however, Maul challenged him for control of Death Watch, besting him and gaining control of the Darksaber, which he used to kill Mandalorian Duchess Satine. Maul would wield the blade in his exploits on Dathomir, which is where he would keep it for many years until it was found by Ezra Bridger and Sabine Wren. Sabine attempted to use the blade to unite her people against the Empire, however due to her not defeating Maul, the possession of the blade was called into question. This detail was soon forgotten, however, when she was able to pass it on to Bo-Katan to unite her people. The blade was last seen in Heroes of Mandalore being wielded by Bo-Katan. Speaking of Bo-Katan, it was she who Din Djarin and Grogu run into in Chapter 11. Bo-Katan Kryze was sister to Duchess Satine, Queen of Mandalore, as well as a member of Death Watch that opposes the Duchess's pacifistic ways. It is as part of this group that Bo-Katan first encounters Jedi Padawan Ahsoka Tano. Following Maul's defeat and execution of Pre-Vizsla, Bo-Katan leaves Death Watch, refusing to follow an outsider. Now working against Death Watch, she must free her sister Satine from capture. However, her attempts lead to Satine's execution in front of Jedi Knight Obi-Wan Kenobi. Bo-Katan then freed Obi-Wan, hoping he would send Republic forces to assist in defeating Maul. When aid did not come, however, she, along with Ursa Wren, sought Ahsoka Tano, who brought a division of clone troopers to help take back the planet. Upon Maul's defeat, Bo-Katan gives Tano the means to keep him subdued and waves farewell as the region of Mandalore. However, this wouldn't last long, as Order 66 was carried out. The Republic and the Jedi Order fell as the Empire rose. The Empire occupied the planet and instated Gar Saxon as Imperial Viceroy in place of Bo-Katan, as he had pledged allegiance to the Empire. 18 years later, when Clan Wren started resisting the Empire and Clan Saxon, they began looking for a worthy leader of Mandalore. Bo-Katan and her Night Owls came to join forces, and Sabine Wren and her mother Ursa chose Bo-Katan to wield the Darksaber and rule Mandalore. And she was last seen in animation in Heroes of Mandalore wielding the Darksaber. Bo-Katan sends Mando to the planet Corvus to find her old friend Ahsoka Tano, which he eventually does in Chapter 13. The Jedi. But who is Ahsoka Tano, and is she really a Jedi? When we first meet Ahsoka, she is a young brash Padawan that is eager to please her new master Anakin Skywalker. Anakin trains her throughout his military missions in the Clone Wars, where she learns many valuable lessons from him and his allies. And through adventures on her own, she learns valuable skills and puts into practice what her master has taught her. She even goes on to help Master Yoda train younglings. However, being trained by the future Sith Lord, she shares a skepticism for the power of the Jedi Order. This would come to a head when past friend Barriss frames her for blowing up the temple, and the Order is quick to arrest her. And while she and Anakin prove her innocence, she ultimately chooses to reject the ascension to Jedi Knight and leaves the Order. When Bo-Katan asks for assistance on Mandalore, she reaches out to her old master for help, but he's busy dealing with the revenge of the Sith. She defeats Maul, waves off Bo-Katan. We covered this before. Order 66, however, turns her entire division of clone troopers against her. Commander Rex is able to fight the Order long enough to lead her to the discovery of the control chips, which she proceeds to remove from Rex, and together they bring down the ship containing the clone troopers. 14 years later, we see she has joined the Rebel Alliance and acts as an informant between the Alliance and the crew of the Ghost. She eventually joins forces with the Rebels, assisting them against the Inquisitors, helping in Ezra Bridger's Jedi training, as well as being responsible for recruiting Rex into the Rebel Alliance. Throughout the years, she eventually has to come to terms with what she has known for a long time, that her once master Anakin has become Darth Vader. They duel to what seems like the very end, when at the last minute she is pulled into the world between worlds by Ezra 2 years from the future. They part ways and we would not see her again until the rebellion defeats the Empire, when she and Sabine Wren set off on their journey to find Ezra Bridger, who was last seen with Thrawn. It's unclear whether this scene takes place before or after her appearance in The Mandalorian. And at the end of this episode we hear Ahsoka ask Magistrate Morgan Elsbeth where Thrawn is. So who is this Thrawn? Thrawn Uruodo is a Grand Admiral in the Empire that was placed in charge of defeating a group of rebels causing trouble in the Lothal sector. He discovered that there was a mole working from within the Empire, supplying intel to the rebellion, and was able to work out that it was Agent Callus, as well as locate and destroy the rebel base on Atollon. He was also placed in charge of a new TIE Defender project that, much to his dismay, was destroyed by the rebels. He was last seen when the rebel forces joined together to take back the planet of Lothal, where he was in a standoff with Jedi Padawan Ezra Bridger when the Purgle came to Ezra's aid. They surrounded the entire fleet, as well as the Chimera, the command ship Thrawn and Ezra were on, and pulled them away at light speed to the unknown. And so if Ahsoka's quest is anything to go by, it appears he survived the altercation with Ezra and is high in the ranks of whatever is left of the Empire. So what's next? Where will we see those characters next? Well, Star Wars actually announced a bunch of new shows that are coming out within the next few years, and from that we can probably track where many of these characters will be headed. In total they have announced 3 new shows that are all taking place simultaneously with The Mandalorian. They are The Book of Boba Fett, Rangers of the New Republic, and Ahsoka. Straight off the bat it's pretty clear that Ahsoka is going to next be seen in the Ahsoka series. It's also quite likely that this series will be dealing with her quest to find Grand Admiral Thrawn. In fact, just recently it has been revealed that the plans for the animated Star Wars Rebels sequel series have been scrapped in favour of the live-action Ahsoka series, meaning that much of the plot from that show is being put into live action. Now this is a shame. It's certainly always a shame when an animated show gets shelved, especially one that was so far in development as this one. And while I'm not usually a fan of bringing animated characters into live action, Star Wars has always been a live action franchise first and foremost. And so to see characters like Ahsoka and Bo-Katan get brought into live action and get treated with the same respect as people like Luke Skywalker, who also made an appearance this year, really feels like the characters are getting the respect they deserve in a way that introduces them to far more people. And so it's possible to expect other characters such as Ezra Bridger, Sabine Wren and Commander Rex popping up in live action for the first time in the Ahsoka series. And while it's more than reasonable to assume that Bo-Katan and the Darksaber would appear at some point within the Ahsoka series, it's most likely they're going to stick around in The Mandalorian for Season 3, with Din Djarin now wielding the Darksaber and Bo-Katan wanting it to unite all of Mandalore. It's quite likely that that's the storyline Season 3 is going to be focused on, which will certainly be an exciting storyline to see, as long as it doesn't come at the cost of more Grogu. Need them to get back together again. And in addition to all these live action series that have been announced, there is one new animated Star Wars series coming out sometime this year, and that is Star Wars The Bad Batch. This is a sequel series to Star Wars The Clone Wars, and seems to follow on with some of the same characters within the same style of that show. The series takes place after Order 66 and focuses on the Bad Batch, a group of clones that were introduced in Season 7 of The Clone Wars, and seems to be showing us a lot of things from the point of view of the Empire. It's possible we could see some appearances from Thrawn. We do of course know that Ahsoka, Commander Rex and Bo-Katan are all running around during this time period, and although the show doesn't look to be focusing on those characters, it's possible they could show up in some capacity. But one of the really interesting things to note is that Fennec Shand, portrayed by Ming-Na Wen on The Mandalorian, can be seen in the Bad Batch trailer, so it looks like we're going to be finding out some of her backstory. There's so many exciting projects announced in the Star Wars universe coming out in the next few years, and with Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau at the helm of most of them, they're all seeming to be quite interconnected, and it's really going to be fun to see how they all play within that same sandbox. And I for one cannot wait. But until all those things come out and you're looking for more Star Wars content, if you haven't already, I highly recommend you go check out Star Wars The Clone Wars and Star Wars Rebels. They're all available to watch now on Disney+. Whether you check out the full show or just some of the notable episodes I highlighted in this video, I'm sure you'll enjoy them. I mean, they are tubular. Alright everyone, if you enjoyed the video, please give us a big thumbs up and hit that like. And if you want to see more from me, hit that subscribe button and ring that notification bell to be notified the next time we dive down the Tube of Toons. Alright everyone, cheers. Thanks for watching Tube of Toons. If you want more from the channel, hit subscribe. If you want to keep up to date with what's going on, follow us on our socials. Hope you liked it. Cheers.